Hi everybody. In this video, we're going to read the next chapter of Ancient Pokémon Attack. Chapter 7. That's what you call a blast-off, Jesse groaned. Jesse, James, and Meowth lay on their backs in the sand. They were still reeling from Pikachu's surprise electric attack earlier that morning. All they wanted was to bring Pikachu back to the boss, but those twerps had sent them blasting off again. Meowth spit sand out of his mouth. He could hear waves lapping against the shore, but it only made his head hurt more. James clutched his stomach. "Any idea where we are?" he asked. He opened his eyes slightly to look around. "Some deserted island somewhere?" Meowth groaned. He heard the double propellers of a plane flying overhead. "Hmm?" He opened his eyes wide. "Isn't that Team Magma hovering past?" James asked. The red plane flew over a cliff and out of their view. Jessie slowly sat up. "So much for the deserted island theory," she said, brushing the sand off her uniform. Meowth leapt to his feet. "Let's go!" he shouted at the rest of Team Rocket. "Now it's a something's up hurry." He shook his paw at Jessie and James to get them moving. Wobbuffet popped up out of nowhere to support Meowth. "Wobbuffet!" the blue psychic-type Pokemon shouted. Jessie and James followed Meowth to the top of the cliff. They heard voices and ducked down behind some bushes. A large force of Team Aqua members had gathered to greet Team Magma's plane. Team Rocket recognized two of the people as Archie and Shelly, the leaders of Team Aqua. Archie chuckled as the lead of Team Magma walked off the plane, followed by part of his team and their mighty Anna. Archie clearly thought he had the upper hand in whatever was about to go down. "How are you, Maxie?" Team Rocket heard Archie ask. The two rivals stared each other down. "You have insulted the name of Team Magma," Maxie snarled. Archie smiled. "Nah," he said, tilting his head to the side. "But these two might have." Behind him, two Team Aqua prisoners were tied up with rope. "Now, if I'm not mistaken," said Archie, "one of these two men is your commander, correct? I would assume his mission was to steal our Groudon, although he failed quite miserably, didn't he?" The two prisoners struggled against their binds. Maxie gritted his teeth in anger. Jessie, James, and Meowth poked their heads up from behind the bushes. "They have prisoners," Jessie squealed. She clapped her hands together. "This is good," said James with a gleeful smile. "Let's stay and see what happens." Jessie and James watched as Archie and Maxie argued. "First you call for a meeting and then you try to sabotage us?" Archie asked. He opened his arms wide and then stuck his hands in his pockets. "That's not exactly the best way to do business." Maxie took a step closer. Team Rocket leaned forward. Maybe there would be a fight. "Look, Archie, you know as well as I do that the Groudon means absolutely nothing to you or your organization," Maxie said. He was tense. "So why don't you hand it over?" Archie threw his head back and laughed. "I guess you just don't realize what a predicament you're in," he said. Suddenly his face was serious. "Fact is, we've got Kyogre too." "You what?" Maxie clearly wasn't expecting this twist. Archie stood with his hands on his hips. "Here's the deal," he said, ready to set the terms. "Team Magma will break up today, while Team Aqua will rule the world." Maxie clenched his teeth, but Archie was enjoying the moment. "Or, if you prefer, I could use Kyogre to destroy everything while you stand there," Archie said. He calmly reached back into his jumpsuit and pulled out the red orb. The two men growled at each other as Team Rocket watched from the hillside. "This is better than my favorite soap opera," James said, but Jessie was still trying to get the story straight. "So Team Aqua managed to capture both Pokemon and now wants Team Magma to break up?" she asked. Meowth raised a paw into the air. "Well, I always say, when you got a bunch of crooks trying to out-crook one another, that's the time when you swoop in on them." James wasn't catching on. Wow, he said. You think Team Aqua really thinks it can rule the world? They do have two ancient Pokémon on their side, Jesse said thoughtfully. No, shouted Meowth. He jumped up and down. Why did they never understand? We're gonna steal them, and then give them to the boss as a gift. Oh, said Jesse and James. Yay! All three members of Team Rocket began pumping their arms in the air with glee. Let's go put our promotion into motion, they shouted. Wabba, agreed Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet.